Welcome to the PowerCast, live with you every Tuesday night with my partner in crime, to your far right, Mr. Eric Vasquez. In the hot seat, special guest tonight, a new agent on our team. Very excited to share with you, Mr. Aaron Maggin.
How are you, everybody?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So
Dave.
nice to have you, my friend.
Thank you.
Eric's
Nice shirt, by the way.
I learned it from watching you.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a bunch of questions for Aaron Maggin. If anybody out there has some questions about real estate, feel free to reach out to us and ask them. And in addition to that, before we get started, make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. As you know, go to YouTube, type in Team Powerhouse Real Estate, hit subscribe. Go to Instagram, go to Twitter, go to Twitch, go to TikTok, go to YouTube. As we mentioned, Facebook, which we're live over here on Facebook too. Instagram is live. Spotify in the car, Google Podcast,
Rumble.
Apple Podcast,
Rumble.
We've got a lot of places to find us, everybody, and we're looking forward to being with you every week. We appreciate the opportunity. And also, we have some exciting news about some upcoming events we'll talk to you at the end of the show. But first and foremost, Mr. Aaron Maggin, Team Powerhouse. Welcome to the show.
Hot seat.
Thank you very much.
Hot seat is right. So let's talk about a little about you.
Sure.
You have any children?
I do. I have one son. His name is Judah.
Hello, Judah. Thank you very much for allowing Dad to be on the show today. It's a very exciting time to have you.
It is.
He probably hears you talk about lots of things at home.
He does.
He hears you talk about real estate.
He does.
And he says, Dad, I want to be a real estate agent.
He does not.
Yeah. He's like, Dad is always on the phone all the time, and it's just way too much. I need my time with him alone.
Yes.
So you have one boy's name is Judah.
I do.
And where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Woodbridge, Connecticut.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did. Hanging out with you.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I know. We know Aaron Maggin for quite some time. Grew up as kids. Many of you guys know him. He was a much different guy back in the day. He's a lot more relaxed at this time in his life.
I am.
He's a very good entrepreneur, if you will. Done a lot of crazy things, and then life kind of turns around in a positive way. And not that there were bad things, but just our life when we were younger. I mean,
Did you guys get arrested together or something?
We did not.
Okay. Well, he said you did not. So. Well, there's nothing like nepotism to set up a show. So. Okay.
So, where'd you go to school?
I went to Amity High School.
Amity High School.
I did. And then I went to Johnson & Wales University.
That's pretty awesome. So in Johnson & Wales, you studied?
I studied culinary arts and hotel and restaurant management.
That's fantastic. So what was your first job after college?
I opened up my own catering company.
That's pretty wild.
Right out of college.
Wow. What was it
I
called?
did. It was called Aaron Maggin Catering.
Cool.
It was located in Connecticut.
Yeah.
I had it for a few years, and then I wanted to move to New York City. So I moved to New York, which is where I worked for a couple country clubs. I opened up Resorts World Casino. I was the executive chef there.
Oh, what executive chef? That's pretty cool. So you got involved in the restaurant business. Went to Johnson & Wales, a fantastic school out there, by the way. If you're looking to get involved in the restaurant business, Johnson & Wales is one of the best out there, right?
It is, absolutely. And it's all
in
about
Rhode
what you
Island,
put
right?
into it. It is in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And Providence is the main campus. They do have a couple other campuses throughout the country, but the main campus is in Rhode Island.
That's pretty cool.
Dylan toured, I think, went there for a tour.
That's pretty cool.
To check it out.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a great school. I know that for sure. And anybody out there looking to get into the real estate business, or you want to get into the food business, Johnson & Wales is a good place to start. To be honest, you know what?
It is.
Most people don't come out of school saying, I want to be a real estate agent.
They don't. It wasn't until I moved to New York City where I started getting into the real estate business about 10 years ago, about 10, 12 years ago. I worked for a company there called City Habitats.
Oh, wow. Very cool. Big
it
company.
was very cool. Big company. I worked there for a few years before I decided to move out to California.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, New York and California.
Got to hit them all while you're young, man.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't
Yeah,
do it then, you can't do it now.
That is true. That's very true.
Absolutely.
When you were in California, were you doing the real estate, or was it food, chefing?
No, it was much more culinary arts related. Yeah, I was up in Northern California, up in Sonoma County.
Wow.
So
That's a great business to be in.
Isn't that near wine country?
it is wine country. It is the wine country of America.
To be involved in the food business, first of all, it's got to be very exciting. I mean, you've got all the foods of the world you're playing with and doing and trying things out and different kind of restaurants. As you mentioned, being a chef, It gets you to really know people and gets you out there in people's faces. You got to deal with people who are underneath you, above you. A lot of high pressure situations in the food business.
It is, and they say food makes people. It's in everybody's culture. Most cultures are really based around food and music.
Yes.
And I think real estate's kind of the same thing. It's a very people business, which is why I really love it so much. I think that if you can really be successful in the food industry and have a really good relationship with other people in that business, then real estate kind of falls into that aspect as well.
He's got a good point. I never really thought about it. I mean, that's a very interesting. You're got to be a people person for sure to be in the food business.
Right.
You have to be outgoing, and as a chef, your hands are in the food. You've got line people. You've got the waiters and waiters. You've got the bosses behind it. Depending on what's going on, you have to be a people person. How to communicate with people. Communication is very important, and talking too fast is my problem. So I'm gonna try and slow it down a little bit as I'm talking over here. But seriously, when it comes to the communication process in food business, real estate, it goes hand in hand. You're absolutely right.
They do.
Building trust, building loyalty, building relationships with people, very important, because in that you're a chef behind it. You're the main person in that restaurant.
And then also besides that, there's a lot of paperwork that people don't really know that goes into the food industry. A lot of contracts. And
Hey, just in case you didn't know, there's paperwork in real estate
no
too.
way, really?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, just
maybe,
a little bit.
Maybe that's another reason why they go well and work together.
Yeah.
I
didn't think about that.
Your clients look like this after a closing.
Yeah.
From signing
Flipping
everything.
through all the books.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of paperwork in real estate, and you're right.
Yes.
It's another good point you make, Eric. I mean, when it comes to getting involved in real estate, there's a lot involved for you guys to know. It's not just about showing a house to somebody or selling someone's house. There's a ton of paperwork, a lot of responsibility, a lot of communications involved in this business here. And in this market, negotiations, absolutely.
Negotiation skills are huge.
People actually don't realize they want to get to the real estate market, be a realtor. They see everybody being successful the last couple of years. It is not an easy job. And more today than ever, people really need to have that identification and that closeness and that relationship, as far as how things work and how to communicate and get things through the process, if you will. I'm not sure if anybody's any questions out there or anything they want to know about Aaron. If you're out there, please don't hesitate. But more importantly, going back to you, a guy who was in the restaurant business, a chef, and then you got into real estate. So real estate was secondary to the chef thing when you went to New York and got your real estate license, right?
It was. I was very fortunate there that my parents knew a neighbor there, a guy who owned almost a dozen apartment buildings in New York. So right off the bat, I got the exclusive listings to all those apartments.
Wow.
So we're talking about
Nice job, Dad. Mom and Dad, maybe watching the show. Is that
hopefully,
possible?
maybe so.
I'm going to reach out to Mom and Dad and say hello. Thank you very much for having him here as well and helping him get into the real estate game.
Yeah. So right off the bat, I had almost 400 apartments that I was managing.
Wow.
So that kind of helped my real estate career kind of kick off a little bit.
I would say so.
Yeah.
And New York rents, and this is 10 years
These
ago.
are all rental properties.
That's
out there.
And what was an average rent? Is it about 10 years ago you said?
Yeah, I mean, there's really no average because you can have, a studio walk up back then for $1,500.
Yep.
Then you can go all the way up to, doorman elevator, basic doorman elevator,
Yeah.
$3,000, and then you can go all the way up to $20,000 a month, if not
That's
higher.
amazing.
All in the same borough or different boroughs?
And you could all be in the same borough, even
No, but the buildings you did, you were all.
yeah, they were all Manhattan based.
They were all Manhattan.
They were all Manhattan based. Yeah.
For people in Connecticut listening to those kind of numbers when it comes to rental prices, so that is something that we haven't really seen or heard of in Connecticut until now. The price of rentals today have skyrocketed. We're not seeing $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 necessarily, although in Fairfield County it's not to be unheard of paying between $4,500 and $5,000 for a rent.
I mean, even higher. I mean, I live in Fairfield County.
Yes.
And I can tell you that there are plenty of places going for, $5,000 to $10,000 a month.
So here in New Haven County, for the most part, you're looking at rentals are the highest price we've ever seen before. And we're seeing things gone from maybe say $1,500 a month to $2,200, $2,500, $3,000, $3,500 for rent for a condo, a house. So that just brings everybody back into the game of what they should be doing. Is it better to rent or to buy? It used to be that you can go and rent the property. It was a way to be cheap or inexpensive way to save money and all that kind of avenue.
Yeah, and build some equity towards buying the house.
Exactly, build some equity, save some money, and it's really made a big difference in how our business has changed with what people are looking at for rents, and they're actually getting concerned about it and actually open the doors to buying right now. There's a lot of new programs that are out there, if you guys know as well, and if you haven't heard of them before, some of our best agents have been publicizing those special events that are happening with what kind of ways to get houses. We're actually going to have Michael Christopher on the show in a couple of weeks talking about a program called Time to Own. I think one of our agents, her name is Jamie Franco, just posted it recently and got like 20 people to call her up just because they had the opportunity to be in that position. So a lot of things happening in Connecticut for people to get their hands wet and actually get themselves a house to buy. Going back to you, Aaron, of course, so you got your real estate license about 10 years ago. You were in the New York real estate market. You did a lot of apartment buildings and managing things over there. That must have been a lot of chaos. I just have to,
I mean,
assume
it's just a lot of showings. You
Yeah.
show a lot of properties to a lot of different people
Were
of all different sects.
Did people find themselves going in New York City when they had those kind of rents? You know what, maybe it's time for me to buy versus rent, or is it because it was very common to be a renter in New York and stay that way?
I think it's number one, more common to be a renter, and number two, the price tag on buying an apartment
It was so much more
is
expensive.
so, you're talking millions.
Yeah.
It's
a good
really
point.
But
that you need to have that financial liquidity to be able to buy a place.
there's also just not a lot of houses in Manhattan.
That's true.
Well, no, you're not buying houses, you're buying apartments.
Well,
Listen,
well,
there are a
I
few
mean, they have-
houses, but I mean,
They have row houses and they have,
It's not
I
as
forget what they're
common,
called, but-
not as many, but they're out there, of course. But the
Sure.
point is that the people to afford to buy a place in New York, which is why Connecticut become the mecca of New York, is because to buy a property in New York is so outrageously expensive
Sure.
that it's become, you know what? And actually, let's just start back to New York for a minute, because New York people who have been living in New York for so long love New York because of the conveniences, right? I mean, anybody from New York said, I'm never gonna move to Connecticut because I've got in every corner everything I need, from food to groceries to restaurants to excitement, nightlife, everything else. Connecticut has actually began to really open up their downtown areas in different towns, whether it's New Haven or Hartford, making it very New York style based with all the coffee shops and restaurants and bodegas, all the things to be convenient to the fingertips of the clients today, if you want to be in a city. With that being said, we almost had an OCD
No,
on
the
the
funny
show.
thing is, it's like the third time he did it in like the last 10 minutes.
We had a little light fixture that just kind of stunned all of us over here, went down. Hopefully all the cameras can still see us and things are looking okay. We got sidetracked. So the apartment rentals in New York, again, astronomical pricing
sure.
compared to people in Connecticut.
In Manhattan.
In Manhattan, I'm sorry, you're
But
right.
now also in Brooklyn as well. I mean, you really see most areas now where it's getting crazy pricey.
Yeah,
It
crazy,
really is.
crazy pricing. I agree with you. So now these people are coming to Connecticut and buying.
They are.
And it's great because you've got the experience and work with people from New York. And you know the dynamics and how they think and how they act and how they feel, which is another big compliment to you as a realtor. A great realtor to get a hold of, by the way. So let's just make sure that Aaron Magan's information is on the screen if we don't already have it. I'm sure that the guys behind this computer right now are Aaron Magan, your name, your phone number. Let's get everybody out there your cell phone number if they need to get in touch with you.
Sure, my cell phone, if you want to get in touch with me, is 203-631-5843.
Excellent.
Yep.
And an email address?
Do we have the email? Do we have the email up there as well, guys? We do?
All right.
Awesome, great.
All right, and then a website for you would be aaron.teampowerhouseCT.com.
That's it,
So you
Dave.
can get to Aaron's website to look at properties, go shopping as well. Very important to be able to get in touch with him. Let's talk more about the some questions for you. I wrote some notes down, believe it or not, over here for some questions. And it's always nice to have those prepared in advance because then it'll get started up over here.
Sure.
So when practicing real estate, right, and you first got your license in the New York area and coming to Connecticut and kind of getting excited about this whole process, right?
Absolutely.
You cover the whole state of Connecticut, is that correct?
I do.
Excellent.
I do. Yeah.
All right. And and what made you join Team Powerhouse, if I may ask?
Well, really, it's the amount of people that, Dave, you have working for you. Having 14 agents working with you gives me the ability to learn something from each one of those agents and pick up a little bit of information on how they do things and then kind of mold who I want to be out of that.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
That's actually a great answer. You know, I will say to you that when you have a chance, I got in the business, by the way, almost 18 years ago. And one of the things that I was able to learn about myself, who I was going to be, and how I became who I am was, I remember my manager saying to me, all right, listen, I want you to go with each person on the team and let them mentor you. Kind of walk and see
Sure.
the listing appointment, what it's like to work with buyers with them, to learn those kind of conversations, because it's hard. You come into this business and you think that you might be able to do it no problem, and then someone asks you a question, you're like, the worst thing you can do is make the wrong answer, right?
Sure.
So by listening to other agents in the team and how they communicate and show property, it's definitely a major player to joining our team. I appreciate your answer. Very good answer, by the way.
And then another aspect of it as well is that the connection that the team has with home inspectors, with attorneys, with people to get you financing, people help your credit if you need help with your credit.
Yes.
So really, there's so many different aspects to why I chose Team Powerhouse rather than just be by myself out,
I appreciate that. That's a great answer. Eric, you were thinking the same thing.
Yeah, no, that was completely unrehearsed. No, I'm serious, it was unrehearsed.
It was a good answer. That was really.
No, it was very good.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It was very good. Well, it was accurate.
It's 100%.
And maybe because of you a little bit also.
I appreciate that very much.
Absolutely.
But in joining our team, it's one of those things that makes us different than other people. You know, you got a guy like Eric Vasquez over here. You go on the road with him.
203-707-9077.
Eric
This
Vasquez,
is about me, not you, man. Come on.
No, I pitch my phone number every episode, so.
But if you get out there with a guy like Eric Vasquez and you go shopping for a house, right? He's going to walk you through that house, and you're going to learn so much about the house because it's our job as your agents to help protect you, educate you, and learn as much about real estate as possible in this process. And protecting people is what we do. And it comes down to protecting people. It's about making sure that they feel good here and feel good here. Because then they're comfortable making the next step, making an offer and buying a house.
Absolutely.
Very good
So I
stuff.
have a question. So do you still stay somewhat involved with the culinary side of things, or?
I do a little bit of freelancing out there for people and things of that nature. I do.
I bet you at home you've got your hands. Are you the cook at the house?
A little bit, but actually my fiance really loves to cook so much. So it's nice to be able to come home from work and have a wonderful, fabulous meal that she makes all the
I'm gonna
time.
put you on the spot. How's the cooking? Not
It's a
that
10.
you're judging.
No, it's a 10 all the way.
It's a 10.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, talking about no pressure, my gosh. Is there a favorite meal you ever like to make at all when you were cooking or a chef or?
I mean, not really, to be honest.
Okay.
You just get used to doing everything. And I think a lot of it has to do with the environment that you're in and the season.
That's
and
true.
kind of where you are
Yeah.
with what you want to make that day.
What's
I mean,
available in the freezer or the fridge to cook with?
Oh, we're hoping not the freezer, right?
That's fresh.
We're trying to go fresh, Dave.
Right, I was gonna be fresh. So what part of the real estate business would you say that you like the most so far? In your experiences.
I would say it's really the interaction with people and bringing them and getting them excited to either be a first or second time home buyer and trying to help their dreams come true.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's really what it's about. You're trying to get somebody what they want, where they could call home,
The
and something that
American
they
dream.
can be really happy. You come home every day, you work really hard. When you come home, it's a place to be with either yourself or your family, and something that you work really hard to pay for and that you're proud to call your home.
So it's about client satisfaction.
Absolutely.
It's like when you're chef, right?
Exactly.
It's
you know?
like
You want somebody to walk out of the
You know, the
restaurant
chef-
with a
the
great
chef
taste
move,
in your
yeah.
mouth,
Yeah.
and be like, wow, that was really good. That was a really great service experience. That was a really great dining experience. And when you show somebody a house and they finally close on it and they're
Yep.
finally, putting the check on the table and signing the dotted line,
It's a memorable experience.
you want them
for
to be able to
Yeah.
remember that. Exactly. That's kind of another reason they go
Yep.
hand in hand together.
I like it. I like it very much. It's good stuff. It's very personable, very emotional, and it's very satisfactory. You feel that satisfaction you feel here when you finish on a purchase, or if you're selling a house. It's that like you've had all these memories in your home. If you've been there for more than a couple of years, you've raised your family, or you had your first experience with your first wife, or you had some kind of a memory there that was important to you. Those kind of features of owning a home will come only with owning a home. It's so different, that whole pleasure, that whole something that's so near and deep to your heart,
So his closing presents, guys, if he gives you a gift certificate to a restaurant, it's probably a really good place.
Absolutely.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
So a great gift from Aaron is going to be a gift card when you close with a property with him. By the way, which is one of the things we always do. We tend to give out things of value to you, right?
Sure.
We want to make sure that it's a class. No, it's a nice closing gift that helps you remember not only who we are, but more importantly, the connection you made with that person and things that kind of you get to enjoy later on as a nice gift. And one of the things that Team Powerhouse does is give great gifts to their clients who buy and sell homes. Pretty cool stuff. I know that Eric is always very creative. I know I try to be as creative as possible as well. And it's exciting for that time period to get to that closing table after all the excitement, the drama, and the agita that comes with the whole process, right?
Sure.
And then take that picture of the client when they're finally finished and they've got that, home, the first picture of their home. It's just an amazing experience.
What are some of the cool gifts that you've given out, Eric?
I try to be thoughtful with most
Sure.
folks. I've given out a 1969 signed baseball by the New York Mets
Wow.
to
very
one
cool.
client.
That's a pretty deep.
Well,
now-
the client was originally from New York, and
Yeah.
he followed the Mets, and he hasn't lived in New York for several decades. And through talking, seeing houses, you talk, you get to know the
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get to
sure.
know them.
Absolutely. Hope so.
And we talked about being, because I grew up in Flushing,
Okay.
which is where the Mets are from,
Absolutely.
pretty much.
City Field.
And I said, and the place he was buying was specific that he was going to have a nice place to display this ball.
Okay.
So I got him the baseball.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
a
Yeah.
pretty cool story, man.
That's an amazing
Yeah.
gift. Now that doesn't mean everybody gets a signed baseball from the Mets. That just means
Only the Yankee fans. I only give Yankee fans Mets balls from here on out.
I'm so
And
excited.
Red Sox fans.
That's actually hilarious. But the point is that we make sure that we have something for you that is, a memento. I like to give out swag. I like to give out some things like, things they can wear, things they can use, whether it's a tumbler or maybe a cutting board or something with our logo on it. Then there's always that special restaurant. There's special
Jamie's
restaurant.
over there taking pictures, so I figured I'd
Really stick it
salute.
to her?
I'd salute.
What's important to have the photos because what they do is they take these photos and they put them all over social media for us. We're gonna get Aaron Magan in the action shot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Was
the
that,
salute.
was that your action shot to
And
me?
the salute.
That's so great.
No, it wasn't to you. It was to the camera.
Oh my gosh.
The camera's not my friend, just so you know.
All right, so let me ask you a question.
Sure.
You've been in the business now for some time, and I'm putting you on the spot with this question here, so don't
Okay.
feel any pressure.
None at all.
Okay. What would you say you've learned from what would you say you've learned or taken from Team Powerhouse so far? And there's a lot more, of course, I'm sure.
I mean, mostly it's really the way to speak to clients in Connecticut is a little bit different than New York. They're looking for different things.
Yes.
So I think it's that, and then learning the lenders here and learning the type of business and way to do it here. And it's a very much more broad area.
Yes.
Connecticut's really large compared to Manhattan or Brooklyn or
Right.
something of that nature.
You actually got a
So there's a
good
lot
point there
more
also.
territory to cover around there.
Yes.
And there's a lot of different pockets. Whereas, the pockets in the city might be different streets or different corners or different areas of the city or different, east side, west side. Here, you take all that, but you expand it into such a broad area. So you have a client who's looking in either New Haven County, there's a bunch of different areas in New Haven County, there's a bunch of different areas in Fairfield County, in Hartford County. So it's really how to get around all of those areas.
That's a very good point because today more than ever, people are not pigeoning themselves into one town anymore. They really have to kind of open up and broaden their horizons as where they're looking. With the lack of inventory out there in the real estate market, you guys need to make sure that I want to look in Naugatuck, but I'm also want to look in Prospect, Wolcott. I want to look in maybe Seymour and Sonia, or maybe they're looking in Fairfield. So you got Fairfield, Norwalk, and they're kind of pulling up more from more
Yeah, you
towns.
have to really be able to expand your horizons a little bit more.
Every one of these towns, whether it's the shoreline, Hartford County, Litchfield County, you need to make sure that you're looking in more than one town. It makes it very difficult for you today to find a property in one town because the average town right now has about maybe 5 to 10 homes at best in a price range between 200 and a million. As a matter of fact, it's not even for 200 anymore. It's maybe minimum 300 now, 300 plus to a baseline first-time home buyer. Agree, Eric?
No, I wasn't listening. I'm sorry. I was thinking of my next question.
Oh my gosh. So an average buyer today is probably a minimum of $300,000 for a house, okay? So to get something under that's very, very difficult. You want to have as many options as possible for yourselves when looking at a house. It's very important to be diverse. Make sure you have a great lender in your hands to work with. You want to make sure what you're qualified for based on the price and the taxes. And if you're buying a condo today, the condo fees have definitely escalated quite a bit. And going back to the New York market, like you just mentioned, you know, do you have condo fees in New York, in the New York market? Is that a common thing?
There are fees,
Different kind of fees, probably.
different types of fees, and it depends if you're a co-op or not. You know, then there's co-op fees and things of that nature. But there's, you know, there's HOA fees. It's
Right.
it's the same concept,
Yeah,
just done a little bit different.
Yeah, they call maintenance fees when it's co-op.
interesting.
Yeah.
Aaron, I've learned a lot from you today. You did a great job over here. I
Thank
think
you
that
very
you
much.
really were amazing on the show over here. Aaron's gonna be a great guy to work with. A lot of fun. He's got a lot of great personality to him. He's gonna be ready and available to speak with all the time. You can catch him morning, noon, and night. We're gonna cut him off maybe by midnight. You probably stop answering the phones.
Somewhere around there. Yeah. You know, we start up again at 3:00 in the morning, so it's okay.
It's important to make sure you have his contact information, reach out to him, ask questions. And it's important to know that he's got a whole team behind him working with you together as we all work together as a team to help take care of you guys. This is a team that works hard together, plays hard together,
And trains together.
and trains together. Speaking of
Absolutely.
training, how about the training that we offer over here in the team?
I mean, it's awesome. Really couldn't be better. I mean, there's nothing that doesn't get touched or uncovered. And once I said before, you know, it's not just the training from one person. It's not like you're going to work and you have one boss who's going to say, this is how I'm going to train you, this is how you're going to do it. An example of that is it's kind of like working with a bunch of different chefs at the same time. You learn a bunch of different styles from everybody,
Yeah.
and you just kind of absorb it all in. And I think that's one of the great things that makes Team Powerhouse, Team Powerhouse.
I love that. That's awesome. Everybody, I want to thank you so much for watching the show. We got to the end of the show now, where we give a special tumbler giveaway to a lucky guest, and we
Lucky
are very
guest.
a lucky person watching, a lucky person who's been on the
I
show.
thought I was the guest.
You are the guest. This is a lucky guest watching the show. So just if you want to get a tumbler, reach out to us, please. Hit subscribe. Tell us you want to be a part of the show. You want to get a free tumbler so we can send one to you and you get to win the special spinner wheel that is being spun around hopefully while we're talking. Is that spinning wheel happening or are we at technical difficulty there? All right. So Thane is going to let us know who we have for our lucky winner today. No pressure. And the lucky winner is...
Gods _ Grace 01 _ IG on IG. Instagram.
Wow. That's
God's
a-
grace.
That's a pretty cool
God's grace.
God's
Huh?
grace.
Well,
Pretty cool.
I love the fact that someone who's like important God to them has just won a tumbler.
Capital
today.
G or small G?
Capital G.
Okay, that's the right
Capital-
way.
I'm pretty sure that Instagram defaults to the small G.
Does it?
Most
We don't-
likely
we don't-
had.
there's no way
So
to know.
God's grace from Instagram. Please reach back out to us. Let us know that you're the winner, your contact, because we don't know you by real name unless you are of a higher power that we don't know yet. Please reach out to us.
Could
Get your
be
contact.
Grace, maybe?
What's that?
Could be Grace, maybe? We don't know.
All right. Could be grace. Could be God's grace
Or the grace of God.
or the grace of God.
By
All
the
right.
grace
So
of God.
that being said, please reach out to us so we can get you a very special tumbler. They come in black. They come in like fluorescent pink. They're very cool. You have some new styles. They're much taller and thinner with a cool top to it. It's a great little tumbler. And you can take it wherever you go with. You want to put water, alcohol, or anything else in that beverage container. Hot or cold, always ready for you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining
Thanks,
us every
guys.
week. We really appreciate you being with us. And next week on the show, we're gonna have some fun.
Wait,
Eric Scott.
we always have some fun.
We always
More
have fun.
fun.
Next week's going to be more entertaining than usual.
Would you like to tell everybody what's gonna be happening?
No.
Give them a little teaser, a little something.
We're bringing spiders.
Well, we
Ah,
tried. Well, we
yeah.
tried to get some snakes and reptiles in for you next
I
week,
want you to
but
know that
unfortunately,
that's not an option.
schedule-wise, that's kind of difficult to arrange.
Yeah.
So,
I would
no,
have-
next week Dave will be trying a Oculus or virtual reality for the first time.
Never have I ever done the virtual reality segment or experience.
Yep.
outside of going like to Disney and seeing something like on the screen over
So
there.
if we
maybe.
can't technically, technologically, hopefully you're gonna see what Dave sees, and then you're gonna see Dave's reaction to what he's doing at live time. So
So
Very
stay
cool.
tuned
Should
be
next
cool.
week for an Oculus adventure. A lot of fun. Probably me.
a lot of laughs,
A lot of laughs.
a lot of
And we
laughs.
will be with you guys next Tuesday, 5 o'clock. Do not forget to stay tuned every week. We appreciate you guys being a part of our show every week again. Aaron, great job, buddy.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate
Great
it.
job, man.
Absolutely.
Much
Thank you,
appreciated.
Eric.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys next week. See you guys later.
Adios.